Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and on this channel we talk about all things faith, purpose and personal development. The title of this video is What is in Your Hands? So many times we go to God and we're like, but God, what am I supposed to do? We're looking for answers externally. We're trying to get on the next course, get on the next program, get help from other people. But actually God is asking, what do you have in your hands? What is in your hand? And Moses said, I've got a rod. And he said, great, okay, I'll use that. And it turned into a snake. And he ran. He didn't know the ability and the potential of what was in his hands. This whole time he was walking around with a rod. And he never knew that the rod could turn into a snake and all this other stuff. So today, God is asking you, what is in your hands? You want to start a business. You want to venture out into something new. What is in your hands? What do you have? What has God already given you? You don't need to go and get more things and more qualifications. God has given you everything that you need already inside of you. The same way that an apple has the seed of it already inside it, it's able to multiply and keep multiplying. One seed gives birth to multiple trees just once. Everything that we need, God has put a seed inside of us, and that has all the answers. But we're out trying to look for external validation. We're trying to look for external solutions when God is saying, what do you have? What is inside of you? What is in your hands that you could use? And do an inventory of everything that you have. And I've been through this same process. I was asking this whole year, God, what's my purpose? Where do you need me to be? And God asked me the same question, what is in your hands? And I had to go through a list of everything that I have, everything that He has given me, every gift, every skill, every talent, every qualification. And I began to write. And as I began to do that, He began to show me, like, look at everything that you already have. You don't need to sign up for this next course, which is what I was about to do, by the way. He said, you have everything that you need. You just need to get started. So I'm asking you, what is in your hands? What has God already given you that you could start to use and make it work for you? It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be polished. It doesn't have to be put together, as long as you make a start with the little or the lot that you have. I'm reminded of the parable of the sower in Matthew 25, where a man was going away for a long while. And before he went away, he came and gave his servants talents. And he said, I'm going to give one 5 talents. I'm going to give one 2 talents. And I'm going to give the third one 1 talent. And by the time I come back, I want to see some ROI, some return of investment on what I've given you. He said, I've given you something and I've put it in your hands. What are you going to do with it? And guess what? The one with the 5 talents went away, multiplied it. Matthew 25, verse 16, it says, he who had received the 5 talents went at once. Immediately, when he realized what was in his hands, he had 5 talents. He went away at once and traded with them, and he made 5 more. So he multiplied what was in his hands. The second guy, let's see what he did. So also he who had the 2 talents made 2 talents more. Multiplication. The guy with the 2 realized, this is what's in my hand. I'm going to go and multiply what is in my hands. Then there's the guy who had the 1 talent. Let's see what he did. But he who had received the 1 talent went and dug it in the ground and hid his master's money. So the one who had 5 went to invest, trade in, whatever they needed to do. So from 5, multiplied it to 10. The one who had 2 multiplied from 2 till 4. The one who had 1 went and dug what was in his hands and then just left it there. So there was no multiplication. How many of us are currently sitting on our talents, our gifts, the things that are in our hands? We're literally just sitting on them, doing absolutely nothing. No ROI, no return of investment, no multiplication. If you do this to your talents, the dust it's collecting dust. And when the master came back and asked everybody, okay, cool, tell me what you've done with what I gave you. Tell me what you've done with what was in your hands. The one of the 5 said, cool, I've made 10 now. The one with the 2 said, wow, I've made 4 now. And the one with the 1 was now stuttering. You're a hard man to please. So I was afraid. So I dug it and I hid the talent. And the master turned around and he says, you are wicked. You are slothful. you're a wicked man. And he took that talent and then he went to give it to somebody else, to the one who had 5. So he took that talent, because he wasn't doing anything with it anyway, and gave it to the one who had multiplied and now had 10 talents. So he had now had 11 talents. And he said to all the people that multiplied, well done, my good and faithful servant. This is what I need you to be doing. And in the same manner, God is saying, what are you doing with what I've given you? What are you doing with the gifts, the talents, the quirks, the personality, everything that I've given you? What are you doing with it? What is in your hands? So now is the time to take stock, take inventory of what is in your hands. It could be your personality. It could be your smile. It could be your mastermind thinking, your ability to solve problems, your ability to think critically. Whatever it is, write it down. Write a list of whatever is in your hands, whatever is working to your advantage. Some people have charisma. What could you do with that? Some people have the ability to just multiply money like that. Write down everything that is in your hand and pray over it. God, this is what you've given me. How can I multiply it? Show me ways, show me ideas, show me tools and tricks to multiply what you've given me, because you do not want to be that one person when God is now saying, I've given you this, I gave you this, what do you do with it? You don't want to be umming and ahhing and saying, but God, you're a hard man to please. You don't want me to reap where I have not sown. I'm not trying to make excuses. So now is the season to run with it. There are so many times in the Bible where people went to Jesus with a problem, and the first thing that Jesus asked is, what do you have? What is in your hands? For example, when the disciples were gathering and there was no food to eat, and God said, what do you have? There was 5 loaves, 2 fish. In what they had, God was able to multiply that. Again, he can only multiply what you give him, what you have, what is in your hands. When you say, God, I've got this, how do I multiply it? And God can multiply it. Another example, Jesus was minding his own business at the wedding. The wine finished. Jesus' mother turns around and said, Jesus, the wine's finished. Firstly, Jesus said, what has that to do with me? But that's a story for another day. And then Jesus says, what do you have? And they had 6 massive jars. And he said, okay, fill them up with water. And when they did that, the water turned into wine. Jesus was able to multiply that which they had. Again, what was in their hands? Jesus used what was in their hands. Fish, loaves, jars. If this video has been of benefit to you, don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. If you've got a community going where you're trying to sharpen each other and encourage each other, send that person this message and ask them, what is in your hands and what could you make use of? What has God given you? See you in my next video.